Hello, all you happy people.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to The Mole Hole with the hardest working sports announcer in St. Louis that nobody's ever heard of. He's Randy Molman, and the show starts now. That's me, Randy Molman, The Mole Hole. I'm back. Can I tell you? I don't want to use, I know people get upset when you use the word depression in a non-clinical way, but or make light, because this time of year for me, the last several years, the seasonal doldrums that I get into. So I'm going to use the word doldrums because I know once the weather gets better, I'll feel better. But I'm not motivated to do anything. Good morning, by the way. Hope everyone's having a great day. We're going to have more rain today and fog. I saw this morning. We haven't had sunlight in over 80 hours. 80 hours of no sun, more than 80. And apparently we're not going to get any sun until Monday. But next week, at least there's something to look forward to. It's supposed to be sunny and in the 50s starting Monday. So it's going to be a beautiful week, but we got to get through this. Have we had 2 back-to-back days since we flipped to 2024 where we had sunlight in back-to-back days?
No.
And if we have, I can't remember it. You know what? The only thing I'm motivated to do during this time of year is, okay, you know how about mid-November, I had really committed to getting myself back in shape. I lost some weight. I do it every year, and I talk about it right here on the show at the same time every year because I'm getting older. I got to be in shape. I got to be in, in good health. About mid-November towards Thanksgiving, you're like, okay, holiday season's coming. This is going to be a bad 6 weeks. That's fine. 6 weeks, no big deal. And then the calendar flips and you have all the aspirations, just like everybody does with their resolutions. All right, new year. I'm going to get back to eating healthy. I'm going to, at one point before Thanksgiving, I had dropped 25 pounds. I was on my way. And then I was like, okay, I know I'm going to take a hit over the holidays. That's fine. But I cannot, if I lived somewhere with, I know I'm making excuses. This is what everyone's going to say. Oh, all you're doing is making excuses. If I lived somewhere warm where it was sunny every day, I'd be fine. But guess what? This is what makes me happy after New Year's, when the holiday season is over. And I have gotten to the point, look, I was raised Jewish. I'm not we celebrated Christmas in my house because my dad wasn't Jewish. So I love Christmas. But over the last few years, I've really started to fully embrace the decorations, the house, the lights, the festive nature of I've always loved it, but man, maybe it's because my kids are getting older. They're going to be out of the house soon. But when we take that holiday stuff down, coupled with nothing left to celebrate because the holidays are over, the new year has come, coupled with 80 straight hours of no sun, I'm not motivated to do anything. Isn't it weird, though? I am motivated to do stuff like this. I still get excited about doing my show, calling games. That stuff keeps me sane. But isn't it weird that the only other thing I'm motivated to do is eat? Because over the last several weekends, I have made vats of chili. Yeah. Last weekend, I made a big pot of jambalaya. Oh. And I ate that all weekend.
Getting ready to hibernate, aren't you?
Oh God, it's like I always tell people whenever I talk about when I joke about my weight. I used to tell my brother all the time, I like to bulk up for winter. Keeps me warm. Gotta add to the fat content. I think maybe mixed in there. I also there are these soups you can get. Like they're more. Look, they're in a package, right? But they're more homemade than getting it out of a can like at Campbell's. These package of Bear Creek soups.
Okay. Ooh.
And I love the creamy wild rice. And I add chicken, bacon bits, extra rice to thicken it up a little bit. And I just make these thick, horrible, but so delicious things.
Yum.
The chili, the jambalaya. Oh, now that I'm motivated to do. Getting out of bed in the morning is a chore, but man, if someone said to me, hey, you're going to wake up this morning and make a big vat of chili, I'd be out of bed. I'm in. I'm done. I'll make some cornbread. Let's go. I can't be. I'm so in the doldrums. I cannot wait till next week. It's supposed to rain all afternoon again today. It's supposed to rain again on Saturday. Gosh.
Yep.
I can't take it.
Monday.
I can't take it.
Got to make it to Monday.
Got to make it to Monday. Whoever says that? Got to make it to Monday. Well, I hope you all are enjoying your Januaries. I know people who are going to Florida soon. Good for them. God, I'm so jealous. People are going to put on their holiday red and extend their holidays, their holiday red. Just extend their holidays and go down to the beach. You jerks.
Yeah.
Mark, at least you have a lake house. You can go look at rain from a different view.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, man. Anyway.
Yep.
I'm here, so let's talk about sports.
Okay.
The NFL, the greatest soap opera for sports fans there is. How about, before I get into the playoffs, I kind of want to talk about some of these teams and how interested I am in what they're going to do in the offseason going into next year. Because there are so many great storylines just even away from the playoff games that are going to go on this weekend. So let's talk about that first. First of all, perfect hire. And I have for several reasons. The LA Chargers hired Jim Harbaugh, the Michigan national champion head coach, who also went to the Super Bowl as a head coach for the 49ers back in the day. Not back in the day, several years ago. He's been a successful college coach. He's been a successful NFL coach. And when he has a good quarterback, he makes that team really good. He had a longtime college quarterback at Michigan. They won the national championship. He turned Colin Kaepernick into a stud NFL quarterback. They went to the Super Bowl. He has Justin Herbert in LA already in place. One of the most talented young quarterbacks in the game. Huge frame, big arm, and the guy has just not been around good enough coaches or players to be successful. But the guy puts up numbers. Jim Harbaugh will turn that around. The Chargers will be really good, if not next year, the year after, when he gets a couple of his own players in and he's got his culture in and his coaching staff, his drafts. Jim Harbaugh will have an advantage in the draft for the next 2 years because he's been a college coach. He's recruited all these players. If there was a perfect match this offseason for a stud quarterback, a team that needs an identity, and a coach, that's the perfect marriage. Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers. Oh, my goodness. What an absolute home run hire. And, yes, we have to see how it plays out. I love that it's in the same division as the Chiefs. More competition in the AFC West. The Broncos hired Sean Payton. This was his first year. They had some struggles. Sean Payton's a good coach. The New Orleans Saints were always good under Sean Payton. So that division could end up being really, really tough next year and the year after for years to come. Depends on who Sean gets in the building to run his offense, because it's obviously not going to be Russell Wilson. The Las Vegas Raiders hired their interim coach, Antonio Pierce. That rarely works out. An interim coach will give you a bump because the players are like, let's play for this guy. Sometimes it's the players feel bad the previous coach got fired. That wasn't the case in Las Vegas. No one liked the previous head coach who came from the Patriots, Sean McDaniels. So Antonio Pierce is the guy. The players love him. He's a player's coach. He's a young guy. He played in the league. I get all that. But it's rare that an interim coach steps in and then has massive long-term success. So we'll see how the Raiders do. But Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers arguably have the 3 best coaches in the NFL in that division. 3 of the best, with Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and now Jim Harbaugh. Excuse me. That division is going to be a grinder for a while. The Chiefs are the king of it. And Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh are coming for the crown, baby. Come on. Let's make it a little more difficult in that AFC West. My Chiefs fatigue is at an all-time high. Other news. It's going to be interesting to me after the Cleveland Browns got hammered by the Texans, because they were kind of the Cinderella. Oh my goodness, they got the veteran QB off the couch in the middle of the season and they went on a run. They go back to Deshaun Watson next year, who was hurt. The Browns defense was really good, one of the best in the league, and then the Texans destroyed them. Now, 2 pick sixes didn't help the Browns, so that wasn't on the Browns defense. But it'll be interesting to see if the Browns will be as good when Deshaun Watson is back and healthy. We'll see. Another team I'm keeping an eye on, Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin is staying. They're going to hire a new offensive coordinator, most likely. They need to. The Steelers have been known for their entire existence. The Steelers, steel curtain. We're going to play defense. We're going to run the ball. Well, that doesn't work in the NFL anymore. You have to have a creative offense where your quarterback can. They have great weapons. Deontay Johnson, George Pickens. They've got a good tight end. They've got 2 really good running backs who can catch the ball. They've got to have a better quarterback and an offensive coordinator that's a little bit more modern. Mike Tomlin has to get away from the this is what we do. Let's run the ball and let's play defense. No, you got to, in today's NFL, you got to modernize that offense. I'm fascinated to see if Tomlin will get out of his comfort zone and hire a more progressive, a more exciting, a more ingenuitive offensive coordinator. The Bengals in that division will be back because, quite frankly, Joe Burrow will be back. They were 9-8, and Joe Burrow missed half the year. You put him back in that lineup with those weapons, that offensive line, that offensive coach, and the Bengals are going to be good again. In the AFC East, Buffalo will still be good. Let's stop with this narrative. Oh, the window's closing on Buffalo. No, it isn't. It's not closing on Buffalo. They went into that Chiefs game severely depleted on defense. 4 starters out on defense. They grabbed a linebacker before the Steelers game. A.J. Klein, veteran linebacker, was in his RV driving to Key West with his family. They called him. We are in a lot of trouble. We've got 3 linebackers down. Any interest in playing playoff football? And A.J. Klein turned around and drove to Buffalo. I'm sure his wife and kids were thrilled. He started the 2 playoff games at middle linebacker. This dude hadn't played. The Bills were severely depleted on defense. You cannot be severely depleted on defense when you play the Kansas City Chiefs, especially in the playoffs. The Dolphins were a fraud all season. I said it. I said, how do you trust the Dolphins? They only beat one playoff team all year. They beat a bunch of bad teams to get their record. And if you take them out of the nice, pleasant confines of Miami and put them in 0-degree weather in Kansas City, it was obvious what was going to happen. And the Chiefs pummeled them. The Dolphins are, what did I say a couple weeks ago when the playoffs were about to start? They're a fancy pants team. Woo, the Miami Dolphins, they're fun. They've got all the whirly twirlies, and they've got the balloons and the fireworks, but there's not a lot of substance there. You put them against an average team or a team that's not very good, they will destroy them because they're talented and fast. But you put any team that's got some moxie, some that plays hard-nosed, that also equals them in talent, they're not going to win. They showed it all year. They didn't beat anyone really that was any good except for the Cowboys late in the season. And we just saw what Dallas did the first round of the playoffs. The Dolphins are going to have to get tougher next year. That's going to be an interesting storyline to follow. Their schedule will get tougher, and they're going to have to get tougher because guess what? Aaron Rodgers is back next year for the Jets. That will be fascinating. What's going to happen with the Jets? Their defense is already pretty good. They've got a good running game, and they've got some weapons. Offensive line, not very good, but Aaron Rodgers, swan song. What's going to happen with the Jets next year? That's going to be interesting. And then the AFC South, the Houston Texans, everyone picked them to finish last in the division. Everyone said they were going to be one of the worst teams in the league because they're in full rebuild with a rookie quarterback and a new head coach. All they did was win the AFC South. The Colts are on the come up. The Jacksonville Jaguars failed down the stretch. They were the heavy favorites to win that division. What are they going to do next year? Texans, Jaguars, Colts. I think that's going to be a real interesting division. You've got a rookie sensation quarterback in Houston and a young defensive head coach. The Texans are going to have defense. They've got a quarterback and some weapons, and they're young. Just so many interesting storylines going into next year. In the NFC, Dallas, look, what has Dallas told us? 3 straight 12-win seasons. They can't win one playoff game. So next year, what's Dallas going to be? Good. They're going to make the playoffs. Then they're going to lose. I picked them to go to the NFC Championship game. And Green Bay, annihilated them in Dallas. Philly fired their 2 coordinators. So 2 years ago, last year, they had an offense and a defensive coordinator that helped get them to the Super Bowl, and they lost barely to the Chiefs. Those 2 coordinators took head coaching jobs. The Eagles offensive coordinator went to Indianapolis, and they were much better than people thought. The Eagles defensive coordinator went to Arizona. The Cardinals were not good, but first year, new head coach, and their talent level's not great. They got to have a couple of good drafts. But the Eagles' new offensive and defensive coordinators were a disaster. You could see it from the beginning. Even though they started out 10-1, they were barely beating teams. They looked kind of off, but their talent kept them afloat until it didn't, and they failed down the stretch. I have never seen a team that I thought gave up more. Look, players don't give up, but they didn't have their heart in that game against Tampa Bay. How do you lose 32-6 to a 9-8 Tampa Bay team? That was an awful performance. Head coach Nick Sirianni's back, and he'll have his 2 most important decisions that he's going to make for the Eagles. Who does he hire at offensive coordinator? Who does he hire at defensive coordinator? They both got fired. So that is huge in that division. The Commanders are going to draft a quarterback early. They'll get one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. So, and they have some talent on offense. So we'll see what they do with their head coach. The New York Giants, Daniel Jones will be back. Barkley will be back. Their defense was okay. I don't know. It's still, to me, Dallas and Philly next year in that division. In the NFC North, I'll get to the Lions. What a great story. I picked them to win the division at the beginning of the year. I can't believe they're in the NFC Championship. So great. the Packers, Jordan Love was one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last half of the season. He was a rookie. They're going to be really good next year. All of their skill players are young. They're not going to lose anyone. So the Packers, who won a playoff game and gave the Niners all they could handle last week, have all of their young stud offensive weapons back. The Packers are going to be a problem. Vikings, what do they do with Kirk Cousins? He was hurt. Do they keep him? Do they trade him? The Vikings are in kind of a flux position there, especially in a division now with the Lions and Packers. Is this a good time for the Vikings to say, all right, let's retool, let's rebuild? And then the Bears, they're going to take the number one quarterback, Caleb Williams, in the draft. So they're going to take him, who everyone is saying is one of these talents that's transcendent at the quarterback position, like another Mahomes, another Lawrence, another Andrew Luck. So the Chicago Bears are about to get one of the best quarterbacks in the draft in years. So interesting because they just hired Seattle's offensive coordinator. Now, why would you do that? I go back to go to the NFC West. The Seahawks offense was fine. But why would you hire that guy? If it were me, I would have backed up the Brinks truck for Cliff Kingsbury, former Cardinals head coach, was an offensive assistant helping out Lincoln Riley at USC. Guess who the quarterback that the Bears are going to draft is from? USC. This guy is being interviewed for offensive coordinator jobs. If I'm the Bears, why would I not have just, and again, as an organization, they just fail all the time. They have a defensive head coach. Well, back up the truck and get Cliff Kingsbury. Because he's already working with Caleb Williams. He already knows him. It would have been a perfect match. Instead, they go hire Seattle's old offensive coordinator, who just got fired when Pete Carroll got fired. So I'm at a loss on that one. I think the Tampa Bay Bucks will be okay, but they're in serious cap trouble. They should extend Baker Mayfield. What he did with that team was unbelievable. Got him to the playoffs, won a game. The Falcons, who are they going to hire? Right now, they don't have anyone who can throw the ball. Carolina, their owner's a mess. That division is terrible. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, Atlanta, and Carolina. So what are they going to do in free agency? Now, interesting, if the Bears draft Caleb Williams, they're going to want to trade Justin Fields. Falcons could be a spot for him. That could be a good fit. So I don't know. NFC West, Niners will be good again next year. Rams, I hate to say it.
No, don't say it.
The Rams weren't supposed to do anything this year.
Don't say it.
They ended up making the playoffs, and they gave the Lions a game. If the Rams could have converted in the red zone, they may have beaten Detroit in Detroit. So I think the Rams are going to be good. The Seahawks are going to hire a new coach. My bet would be it's going to be Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator for Dallas. He was in Seattle. He built the Legion of Boom defense when he was there. Seems to make perfect sense to me that he'll go back there. And Arizona, I actually think if they have a decent draft, might get better. Kyler Murray was hurt for half the year, so that's one of the reasons they weren't very good. But they got better as the season went on. So I don't know. A lot of interesting storylines going into next year in this league. I still think the AFC is superior, way superior, much better teams. Everyone talks about, Buffalo, Josh Allen can't beat Mahomes. No one can beat Mahomes. He's lost to Joe. The Chiefs have lost to Joe Burrow and the Bengals, right? Let's remember that it's more than just quarterbacks, okay? It's a full team. These are full teams. With Mahomes at quarterback and Andy Reid as the coach, the Chiefs have only lost to the Bengals and the Bucks, Tampa Bay, and the Patriots when they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So no one beats the Chiefs right now. No one. So stop with this Josh Allen's not good enough. He's elite. He's awesome. If the Bills were in the NFC, they probably would have been in a Super Bowl or two. The NFC's weak. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the playoffs a little more when we come back. Also, I do want to talk a little Cardinal baseball. I do have a little optimism with these free agent signings. I do. I did a little research. We'll come back with a little bit more NFL playoff talk and a little bit of Cardinal baseball talk here in these doldrums of January right after this.
El Potro Restaurant and Market, located at 6922 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland, offers the finest variety of Mexican and Central American groceries and goods. El Potro Restaurant serves authentic Mexican and Central American cuisine, including daily specials, not to mention the best horchatas and tastiest margaritas in St. Louis. Open Tuesday through Sunday. El Potro, 6922 Manchester Avenue, 1 block east of McCausland. Find them online at elpotrostl.com.
Hype Digital is a full-service digital marketing agency that helps local businesses grow online. They offer everything from logo and branding to website design, search engine optimization, and paid advertising on Google and Facebook. Height was just named to the top marketing agency list for 2022 by St. Louis Small Business Monthly. Contact them today for a free digital audit to see how you can grow. That's Height Digital, HITE digital.com/ST-Louis. Are you a company who needs help recruiting and hiring full-time professionals in the areas of engineering or information technology? Then call Steve Tucker at Talent Edge. Steve has over 25 years experience in recruiting as a partner and can really give you the edge you need. Also, calling all candidates looking for new opportunities in engineering or IT. Steve will help match your skill set to the right opportunity. 314-276-0074 or check out Talent Edge at talentedgellc.net. Once again, 314-276-0074. Talent Edge. All right, back in the mole hole. First of all, let's talk about my predictions in the NFL playoffs. They were not good in the first rounds. Oh, my goodness. I took Cleveland over Houston. Wrong. I took the Chiefs over Miami. Ding, ding, ding. I'm doing my own sound effects. There you go. Are you doing? All right. Mark's got sound effects going. All right. I took Chiefs, right? So that one was good. I took Buffalo over Pittsburgh, didn't I? So that was good. I took Dallas over Green Bay. No. I took the Rams over Detroit. No. No. And there was another NFC game. Oh, and I took the Eagles over Tampa Bay. No. However, my final 4 picks were Chiefs, Ravens, Niners, Cowboys. So I got 3 out of the final 4 picks right. But my early round predictions were horrible. The Browns. Wow, they disappointed me. That was disappointing. I was really rooting for Joe Flacco and that defense. That was bad. Oh, well, and the Cowboys was bad. Green Bay stomped Dallas. It was the Rams-Lions was close. Like that, it was within a score, within a field goal. But thank God the Rams are out. I can actually watch the Super Bowl. As you all know, had the Rams and Chiefs gotten to the Super Bowl, I would not be watching the Super Bowl. I would have gone to the movies. I'd have gone to a double feature. Already done. I don't care if I'm sitting in there by myself. There was no chance I was going to put myself through watching the Chiefs and the Rams in the Super Bowl. Oh. the Rams who colluded with the league to leave our city, and the Chiefs who have the most insufferable fan base in all of sports. You can't do it. Wouldn't have been able to do it. Now, I beg you, Ravens, please. Please, for all that is good in this world. I don't ask for much. Please, Ravens. I need you to win, Ravens. I didn't say that was my prediction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll say it in a minute. But please, I'm just begging the Ravens. Ravens, if you're out there listening, please, I beg of you. I don't ask for much in life. Sunshine, which I'm not getting. Happiness, which I have. I just need a Chiefs-free Super Bowl. Can I please enjoy a Super Bowl? Over the last 4 Super Bowls, I've had to watch the Chiefs and the Niners, the Chiefs and the Bucks, the Rams and the Bengals, and the Chiefs and the Eagles. I have not been able to enjoy a Super Bowl. Going on 5 years now. The only thing I enjoyed was when the Buccaneers hammered the Chiefs, but they were still in the Super Bowl. And I had I don't want a rooting interest. I don't have a team I root for. We don't have a team in St. Louis. I don't want to go to a Super Bowl party and be stressed out rooting against somebody. I just want to enjoy the game and the snacks and the food and the people. I don't want to have to sit there and watch these insufferable fans win again, or spend 3.5, 4 hours rooting against them. I just want to enjoy a good game. And so here's what I want. I want Ravens and I want Lions. The Detroit Lions are the story in the NFL. They've never been to a Super Bowl. Never been to a Super Bowl. And they're one of the oldest NFL franchises. They used to win NFL titles in the 50s. They were like a dominant team in the 50s. That's how long it's been. They haven't won a division since 91. They haven't hosted a home playoff game in years until this year. The Detroit Tigers are terrible. The Red Wings haven't done anything in the last 10 years. And the Pistons just set a record for most losses in a row in the NBA. The Detroit fans need this. I'm rooting for you. Oh, I'm rooting for you fans in Detroit. So that's what I want. That's what my heart wants. I want a Ravens, because Lamar Jackson, another electric player who everyone was like, well, he's so good, but he hasn't done anything in the playoffs. I want him to go to the Super Bowl. I want the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl. I want Ravens Lions. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping for. So you know what's going to happen. It's going to be the freaking Chiefs and Niners. I actually do think my prediction is this. In the let's start with the NFC. It's in San Francisco. The Niners struggled last week. Weather played a factor. Brock Purdy's not a big quarterback, and I know it's funny to say, but he's got smaller hands. They talked about it. So with a wet football, it's hard for him to get a good grip on the ball. I know that sounds silly. It's not the only reason the Niners struggled. Their defense is not great against the run. And Green Bay ran the ball well. Green Bay's defense had gotten better. And Deebo Samuel got hurt in that game. That throws their game plan off when they don't have that kind of weapon, when they had game planned to use him. Now they've had a week to prepare without him. They still have McCaffrey. They still have Kittle. They still have Ayuk. They still have an Hall of Fame left tackle. There's not going to be any weather situation going on Sunday. Weather looks clear. The Lions, on the other hand, if they run the right game plan, they have a chance. That game plan is do everything off the run, because the Niners, if they have a weakness on defense, it's run defense. The Lions have David Montgomery, who is a ground and pound in your face, I'm going to jam it down your throat running back. Then they have Jahmyr Gibbs, who's the electric fast home run hitter. They basically have both styles that they give the ball to. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a wide receiver, Pro Bowl player. Awesome. Good young tight end, Matt Laporta, who's from, by the way, Althoff. He's from St. Louis metro area. That dude is an awesome young tight end. The Lions offensive line, best run blocking offensive line in football, according to all the metrics. If you focus and make it a point to run the ball and use play action, I think you have a chance to beat the Niners. You've got to control the clock, and you're talented enough on offense to score against that team. The problem is, can your defense stop the Niners? That's going to be the issue. And so my prediction is the Niners in a close game. I think they're going to win it close. This is another look. Everyone's, including me, the Cinderella story is the Lions. Jared Goff redemption story. He took the Rams to a Super Bowl. They lost to New England. And then Sean McVay was like, we can't win with this guy. Traded him to Detroit and got Matthew Stafford and won a Super Bowl. Well, this is Jared Goff's redemption. This is his story to come back and be like, everyone thought that I was the problem when we didn't win a Super Bowl. Now here I am back in the Super Bowl with a different team. So he's got a lot to play for, chip on his shoulder. But you know what? So does Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy for the Niners was the last pick in the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, 7th round pick. He steps in for an injured Jimmy Garoppolo, goes on this magic run, and everyone's like, wait a minute, this guy might be good. Then it turns into, oh, this guy's really not that talented. The only reason he's good is because he's in a good system and he's got all these players around him. Guess what? Every quarterback is a system quarterback. I'm so tired of hearing that term, system quarterback. Every quarterback succeeds within a system. Kurt Warner was nothing. No one even knew who he was. He landed in Mike Martz's system after an injury. He had Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Marshall Faulk, Orlando Pace, Hall of Fame left tackle. He had Oz Hakeem, and he had a pretty good defense. Kurt Warner's a Hall of Famer. Had Trent Green never gotten hurt, or had Kurt Warner never been signed by the Rams as a backup, we wouldn't even know who Kurt Warner was. He landed in the right system at the right time with a bunch of weapons around him. Mark Bulger was a Pro Bowl quarterback in Mike Martz's system for 3 years. One of the best quarterbacks in the league. Then Martz left. Bruce got older. Holt got older. Falk retired. Orlando Pace retired. And then Mark Bulger turned into a very average quarterback. Of course, quarterback play is dependent on the system that fits your skill set and the skill players around you and a good offensive line. Why are we holding that against McCaffrey? Tom Brady's best season, he was a Hall of Famer regardless. But when he threw 50 touchdowns, it's because he had Randy Moss. He never got close to 50 when he didn't have Randy Moss. Quarterbacks are better when they have better players and when they're in a good system. So Brock Purdy also has a chip on his shoulder because he's like, I'm sure in his private moments, he's like, man, I am really getting sick and tired of everyone saying I'm not good enough. And the only reason I'm good is because of all these players. Now I'm just going to have to go out and win a Super Bowl. Now you can't take that away from me. You could sit there and talk about me all you want, but you can't take away a Super Bowl championship. So both these quarterbacks have something to play for. I think it's going to be the Niners in a close game at home. I think they were rusty last week because they basically sat for 2 weeks. Their last game of the season was meaningless. So they didn't play any of their starters. Then they had a bye week. So they, in a sense, had 3 weeks of practice where they weren't playing. Last week, a little rusty, bad weather. Deebo Samuel got hurt. They're going to be prepped and ready for this game. And I think their offense against the Lions defense is kind of a mismatch. So I think it's going to be close. I think the Niners win. Now, in the AFC, I'm just going to, again, plead and beg. Ravens, please, please. Give me a Super Bowl that I can enjoy. Just please. Just please. I'm begging you. I'm in the doldrums right now. I need something to lift me up. And it's got to be the Ravens. I don't think it's going to be the Ravens. No. I think how can I predict a Chiefs loss when the Chiefs don't lose? They just don't. They're better than everybody. And here's why. They have, if you watch that Bills-Chiefs game last week, everyone was like, well, Josh Allen should have been better, or Josh Allen missed a couple of receivers. Or what happened was, in the first half, Buffalo ran all over Kansas City, and they eliminate the Chiefs. Love the blitz. Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, he is a technician with blitzing. He disguises different blitzes. He runs different blitzes. More than 1 or 2 players blitz at a time. They come from different directions. It's hard. So what did the Bills do in the first half? Brilliant. Run the ball at the defense and get the ball out of Allen's hands quick. Short routes. Boom, boom, boom. It doesn't give the blitzers time to get home. And the Bills were winning at halftime. Outplaying Kansas City at halftime. Second half, Chiefs made adjustments. Buffalo had no answer for it. They couldn't run the ball, especially in the fourth quarter. The Chiefs stuffed the run, sold out against the run and everything underneath, and then dared Josh Allen to throw it deep because they didn't think he would. Guess what? The Bills had 0 plays in that game, 20 yards or more. 0. The Chiefs had 8. So again, Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo are better than you. They just are. It is a great coaching staff. It's a Hall of Fame head coach, Andy Reid, one of the best ever. Let's remember he took the Eagles to a couple of Super Bowls back in the day with Donovan McNabb. At least the NFC Championship games. I know they got to 1 Super Bowl. He was good in Philly, just couldn't get over the hump. Then he gets this quarterback we've never seen before, and now they're winning titles. They are better than you. Whatever happens in the first half. Last week, the Ravens were tied with the Texans at halftime, struggling, and then dominated the second half. It's not going to happen against Kansas City. The Chiefs will make adjustments just like the Ravens will. And to me, that's what it comes down to. You look at the end of that game. This is again what it comes down to from what I'm talking about from a coaching perspective, that Bills-Ravens game, or Bills-Chiefs game. The Bills had the ball at the Chiefs' 26-yard line, 2-minute warning, down by 3, 2nd and 9, right? You have plenty of time in that instance to run your offense. You don't have to take shots at the end zone. What did the Bills do? 2 shots at the end zone, both incomplete. So even if they make the field goal, they left 1 minute and 30 on the clock for Mahomes. The Chiefs were going to drive down the field and kick a field goal to win it anyway. You cannot call those plays. Why are you calling long developing down the field plays in that scenario? Coaching. The Chiefs are better than you. Reed is better. Spags is better. They just are. And if it's going to come down to that, I'm always going to think the Chiefs are going to win. Even when Bass came out to attempt the field goal, I turned to my son at that moment and I was like, well, he's going to miss it. Like I knew he was going to miss it, especially after those 2 play calls. And even if he doesn't miss it, Mahomes is going to take him down the field and win it anyway. Because that's what the Chiefs are. That's what they do. The Chiefs are the king of the mountain. They have not been knocked off. They've had a couple of blips where they got dinged. The Bengals the one year, the Buccaneers hammered them in the Super Bowl because the Chiefs had 3/5 of their offensive line hurt, and Mahomes was hassled the entire game. So until they lose, I cannot predict that they will lose. I just can't. They went into a hostile environment last week against a Bills team that had won 7 straight games and won. And out-coached Buffalo. I feel like the same thing's going to happen Sunday. I think, again, it's going to be a great game. I think this is going to be a classic. Lamar Jackson is so unique. It's hard. You know how I've said before, how do you defend Patrick Mahomes? You can't defend him. You can crowd the box and try to limit his little dinks and dunks. He'll beat you down. He'll scramble around and beat you down the field. You play a 2 deep safety shell, cover 2 defense, make sure he doesn't beat you deep. He'll take everything underneath. Just drop it off to Kelsey, run it with Pacheco. You cannot. It's just. It is. If they weren't the Chiefs and they played like in Carolina, I'd love them. But I can't root for the fan base. They are the Ravens have the number 1 defense in the league. So that defense matched up against the Chiefs is going to be very interesting. The problem is there is no defense for what Mahomes does out of pocket, off schedule, when he scrambles around. You can't defend that. It's the same with Lamar Jackson. So that's going to be the X factor. Which of those quarterbacks off schedule makes enough plays to win this game? And which coaching staff makes the right adjustments? The Ravens run the ball as well as any team. The Chiefs run the ball as well as any team. Pacheco's a great running back. The Ravens have a stable of running backs that run it, and Lamar. So I think it's a fascinating matchup, and I think it's going to be very, very exciting with these 2 quarterbacks running an offense. And then what do? Pressure comes. They wriggle out of pressure. What kind of plays do they make down the field? That's going to be the key. But I think it's going to be the Chiefs. I can't predict anything else until the Chiefs lose one of these games. They don't lose. So my prediction is Chiefs-Niners. My heart wants, please be wrong. I want Ravens and I want Lions. I want Lamar to get a shot at winning a Super Bowl, and I want that Detroit fan base and Jared Goff to get some redemption. And I want the Lions in the Super Bowl. That's what I want. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Chiefs win it close. And by the way, I'm going to call it now. It's going to be one of those late game Patrick Mahomes heroics, gets them in field goal range, and they win the game. And just when you think the Chiefs are about to lose, they jump up and win. They do it all the time. And I think they're going to do it again on Sunday. That's my prediction. Chiefs-Niners, which will make this Super Bowl once again horrible for me to watch. I'm hoping, praying, please. I'll get down on my knees and pray before bed. I'm not above that. Please, Lord, just give me this one thing. Ravens. All right. Let's switch gears real quick. There's been a lot of talk on these Cardinals signings, free agent signings from the pitching staff, right? They signed these older veterans in their mid to late 30s, Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray, Lance Lynn. And everyone's like, oh, well, this is how we fix it with these old guys. What did I say during the season last year? The Cardinals were due for a blip. Like, you get to a point where you win as much as they've won. What was it? 22 out of 23 years they've been over 500 and 15 playoff appearances, whatever. At some point, you get to a stage in your development of players where you maybe miss on a couple draft picks. You trade away some talent to try to get some veterans, and that leaves you a gap in the minor league system. Cardinals hit that gap right before last season. They had no young pitching ready for the major leagues. It was a disaster. We all know it, right? We don't need to rehash it. But that was a blip in the development of guys ready to come up from the minor leagues and contribute in the major leagues on the pitching side. So how did they address it? They patch it for this year. They patch it with veterans until these young guys get here. Now, if they have another season, this is the beauty of it. If they have another season like last year where they're not very good and they're not going to make the playoffs, they've got veteran arms they can trade to contenders for more talent to stock the minor leagues. It may happen. Prepare yourselves, folks. It could happen. Okay? Everyone's like, we have we have 1 year where we're horrible. Fire everyone. Come on. It's not realistic. So they got veteran arms. And if they're better, then it worked. If they're not, they've got chips to trade for more minor league talent, right? Trust me. I know you don't want to hear this, Cardinal fans. I know you don't want to hear this.
I don't.
But it's smart business. Like if you're just looking at the business, you've got 3 guys here that can help contribute for a contender, right? That could help someone down the stretch. Maybe not Lance Lynn anymore, but Sonny Gray and Kyle Gibson for sure. They were both in the playoffs last year. Those are good veteran arms. All right. Here's a stat. The Cardinals last year, when they got a quality start from a starting pitcher, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. That's a quality start. 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less. The Cardinals were 33-15. 18 games over 500. How many games did the Cardinals finish under 500 last year? 20? Okay. Without those quality starts, how much worse would they have been? Oh my, can you imagine them being even worse? 33-15 when they had a quality start. 18 games over 500. Between Kyle Gibson, Sonny Gray, and Lance Lynn, they had 47 quality starts last year between the 3 of them. Okay? Here are some of the guys. By the way, that is 17 for Gibson, 17 for Gray, 13 for Lynn. Last year, Jordan Montgomery, before he got traded, he had 12 quality starts. That's less than Lance Lynn. Jack Flaherty, before he got traded, only 7 quality starts. Waino only had 4. Dakota Hudson only had 4. Libertor, before he went to the bullpen, only had 2. Steven Matz, who split time between the bullpen and starting, only had 4 quality starts. The combination of, and Jake Woodford, who got starts last year, did not have a quality start. Woodford, Libertor, Hudson, Wainwright, Flaherty, and Montgomery combined, all 6 pitchers combined for only 29 quality starts. Miles Michaelis, I left out because he's back this year. So the 3 guys who are coming in, replacing basically the 6 guys, had 47 quality starts compared to 29. Here's another stat. In the team's record, not the pitcher's record, but the team's record when Kyle Gibson made a start, they were 20-13, Baltimore last year. 20-13. Sonny Gray, when he started, Minnesota was 4 games under 500, 14-18. Lance Lynn, believe it or not, when he made a start last year, the teams he pitched for, the White Sox, who were terrible, and the Dodgers, Lance Lynn, their team was 17-15 when he started. They were over 500, and he had a bad year. That's a total between those 3 pitchers of 51-46. 5 games under 500, those teams were when those pitchers made starts. Now, those guys I just talked about, Montgomery, Flaherty, Wainwright, Hudson, Liberatore, Woodford. When those guys started games, the Cardinals were 41-52, 11 games under. I know they're different teams, but stay with me here. 11 games under, 5 games over. That's a 16-game difference of just teams winning when you take the ball every 5th day. 16-game difference. Cardinals were 20 games under 500. They're going to be better this year. They're going to be better. They've got, even though these guys are older, they're not dominant. They're not Roger Clemens or Kurt Schilling or Adam Wainwright in his prime, but they're good enough with our offense, which was 33-15 when you gave us quality starts. These guys get quality starts. Gibson, Gray, and Lynn combined for 47 of them last year. Just those 3. That's not talking Miles Michaelis or whoever our 5th starter is going to be. Steven Matz. Everyone's like, oh, Steven Matz. You want to know what he did in the second half of the season as a starter? I was shocked. I didn't even realize it. He started 6 games the last half of the season. He was fighting injuries as he always does. In his 6 starts at the in the second half of last year, he had a 2.16 ERA, averaged 5 2/3 per start, under a 1 whip, so a .960 walks, hits per innings pitched, 29 strikeouts in 33 innings, only 7 walks, 2.16 earned run average. At the last half of last year, Steven Matz. Could he be the 5th starter? Maybe. Zach Thompson was really good finally. He started to put it together at the end of last year as a starter. So now you're talking Gibson, Gray, Lynn, and Michaelis. You're talking Liberatore now at full-time in the bullpen, and he was really good in the bullpen at the second half of last year. No more Dakota Hudson, no more Adam Wainwright, no more Jack Flaherty. By the way, everyone's like, oh, we lost Jordan Montgomery. He was so good. He was great for the Rangers. Guess what? He only had 12 quality starts for us, and the Cardinals were 7-14 when he started. So I'm just saying, there is some optimism. And really for two reasons. You got 3 veterans who will take the ball and they'll give you at least 5. And if they get a quality start, the Cardinals last year were good when you got a starting pit. 18 games over 500 when you got a quality start. And the flip side to that is if it doesn't work, you've got veteran arms to trade and continue to rebuild and restock the minor league system. I am cautiously optimistic that they'll be better. Because real quick before we go, 33-18 in quality starts means your offense is pretty good. The problem is when you don't get a quality start, you're giving up runs early. You got to go to the bullpen in the 4th inning. You're playing catch up offensively. But this offense with Arenado, Goldschmidt, Mason Wynn will be the full-time shortstop. Jordan Walker, Nolan Gorman. You traded Tyler O'Neill, so you don't have to worry about that. You've got Lars Nootbaar, hopefully healthy. And then Wilson Contreras, who ended up offensively being exactly what you wanted him to be. Same as his career numbers. This offense could be really good. And if they could get quality starts, they're going to be better. That's all I'm saying. Cautiously optimistic, everyone. This has been The Mole Hole. Thank you for joining us. Get out of the doldrums. I can't wait for the sun on Monday. And go Ravens. Please go Ravens. Goodbye, everyone.
LP St. Louis. 102.9 KXOK.
Love music on your computer. I can listen online on your phone. Lots of variety.
Listen online at KXOK.com.
¿Qué tal, amigos del Líder City? Fallas técnicas, estamos tratando de hacer algo, pero no se conectó lo que se tenía que haber conectado, entonces entramos en seco. Santiago Beltrán, ¿cómo estás esta tarde de fallas técnicas? Algún día nos tenía que pasar. ¿Cómo estás, Santiago?
Muy bien, Héctor, ya acá listos desde nuestro estudio para hablar de St. Louis City SC, ya una semana de pretemporada cumplida y pues ya se acerca cada vez más el debut en la CONCACAF Champions Cup.
Sí, el 20 de febrero, Santi, exactamente a las 8 de la noche está